Hi there, this is the Victats podcast. This is a podcast about tatting, not the skin and ink kind of tatting, but the needle, shuttle, and thread kind of tatting. I also talk about cross stitch, crochet, and other crafts I do. Lately, I've been doing a lot of cross stitch. So there'll be some of that. And I also have, I don't usually do haul stuff, but I have some haul. That'll be a little bit later. So I just wanted to first of all wish everybody a happy Canada Day and happy 4th of July coming up. Okay. Did I say my name is Vicki Clark? My name is Vicki Clark, and I am podcasting you from my cottage in Campbellford, which I've done before, but usually it's in the inside my great hall or garage, and I redid. It's funny because it was freaking hot yesterday and really hot last night, but fortunately it's cooled off into this morning. But you go into my cottage, it's still like 20 some odd degrees, which is, you know, hot. So right now a breeze just came up and now I'm a little cold. Anyways, okay, so first of all, oh shoot, where did I just, oh there it is. Okay, I wanted to tell you is that on my blog victats.blogspot.com, every year I do a little I call it a very Canadian tat-along and a 4th of July tat-along. Now part of the reason I do that is because I call it a very Canadian tat-along is because the first couple of years are different maple leaf designs and all that stuff, but it's not always maple leaves. And it's usually some kind of design. It's meant to be able to do and not take too much time to do. So like this year it was split. That very Canadian tat-along was done over 2 days. The second day was a wee bit of a doozy, I admit it, but I had already decided it was going to be 2 days and I didn't want to go back and reformat. True story. And the last day was going to be a doozy no matter what I did. That actually is the bigger point. But it was this Canada themed flower, and this is actually based off of wooden flower that my friend Shelva Burt sells, and it's a very similar design, but it has a maple leaf in the middle. So what I am going to try to do is find myself a couple maple leaf beads to put in the middle. But I thought it was also just cute to hang. It's a little thing there. I also thought you could put a Canada pin in the middle, and that'd be super cute too. I had a Canada pin somewhere around here, but I don't know where I put it. The neat thing I did here is for the color changes, I did a reverse lock join. And then the other thing is though, is you could put beads in this one row and it would look really cute. And then those little blips of color never bother me, but if they bother you, then there's ways to go about it, okay? And you can look on for like, it's like a roll and slope join, and there's a bunch of different ways to do it. They don't bother me, so I don't fiddle about it too much. So the other thing is you don't have to do a reverse lock join. You could instead just do a lock join and do a shoelace string, okay? Shuttle or needle, not a lot of difference. And then for today, because today starts the 4th of July one, okay, there's no tatting attached to that. I lived in the US for a couple years, so 4th of July is very important to me. So, and many of my good friends are from America, my very good tatting friends. Let's use this as the contrast. There we go. This is today's, does that actually help? I don't know. I see people do it and I don't know that it makes a difference. This is today's, but you end it off because tomorrow will be something different. And on the last day, they will come together. And actually, this design turned out to be really good. The flower design, when I saw it, my friend's booth, I changed what I was going to do, so that's why I fiddled with it a long time, but there wasn't like massive fiddling the way it is sometimes. So That's why it was 2 days, and I never really got a chance to split it down into any longer than that. Usually it's 2 or 3 days. Depends on my time off. And then on my Renulek doily, I don't think I've really tatted much more, but I finished this round, the last round. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm on round 6. You know, I think this round's gonna go fast, but you just never know. I really enjoyed the last round though. It was really fun. Fun. I have not done anything on the Renulek 2017 other than when I'll show it to you another time, but when I had gone to Fabric Line, which is a chain here in Ontario. I don't know if it's in the rest of Canada, but I had bought a whole bunch of crap, a lot of material that was on sale, and spent more money than I would normally. But anyways, and they have rolls of fleece. Now it's not wool fleece, it's like craft felt, sorry, not fleece, felt. And they have a heart one that's like a mat, like not the normal felt but thicker in a mat. A lot of people use it for their puzzles and everything. I bought a roll because I put it in my, if you remember before, or if you've watched me before, anybody who's new here, welcome. Everybody who's been here before, thank you for coming back. It's a big square piece, and I cut it down to fit into, I had bought an art portfolio carrier, just a cheap one, to put my tatting in to try to hold it flat, because I find when the doilies get bigger, if they don't stay flat, they become hard, like you're more likely to have a problem. So I'm just experimenting with different ways to keep it flat. So I have it in there, and I'm just seeing if it doesn't fall down or what happens. The other thing I thought I could do is I have a whole bunch of face paper rolls that are really heavy duty. So I think I'm going to use that to also make some rolls to store tatting as well. They're only this big, so only so wide, but anyways. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't really fiddled with that too much, but what I did do was I bought, the reason I was at Fabric Land was to buy fusible webbing. I was taught it was interfacing, but I have to be careful because when people think about interfacing, they think of 2 pieces of material going together. I just needed the stuff in between, like the stuff that I can iron on. And I sewed this. The reason I needed it is because I have a whole bunch of pashmina scarves from my friend her mom was emptying them out of her house, and she asked me if I wanted them, and I said yes, and so was experimenting with making little pouches and different things. So that's why I needed to buy the fusible webbing. So the fusible webbing, even though it was 50% off and a steal of a deal, it cost me $100 because I bought all this other crap. But I won't show that to you today because I don't have that with me. It's at home. Good news, if you're wondering, my house is actually going pretty well, and we're going to have the duct. There's actually a frame, and they're going to be putting a steel roof on, and the duct guy will be there doing some duct work. Okay, so I have no finishes to show you because they're all at the house, like my house, and there's a couple of things I think I forgot to show you, so I'm going to, when I do my next one, review all of that stuff so you can see, not all of it, but the stuff I think I skipped telling you because I made a podcast and never uploaded it. Made a video and never uploaded it. It's not a podcast if it's not uploaded. Okay. Coincidentally, you can get these packs of shuttles on Amazon, or you could, and I never bought them because I wasn't sure, like, you know, if they were really that great, but I'd gotten a bunch of them given to me in a care package from the Finger Lakes Tatting Guild and the Fringe Element Tatting Guild, and they actually are pretty neat. I found them pretty heavy, and I don't know that I noticed that there's, other than some texture stuff, that much different from the official ones. So, okay, so let me tell you about what I've been cross-stitching. Okay, Mr. Moo Cow did not get any work on it. I had brought my Mirabilia, the Trick or Treat one, but I haven't done any work on it. I thought it might be a nice sunny, it's been a weird couple days, so it's been cloudy and hazy and all that stuff, so it's not really, like when you need bright stuff, it's not good weather. Okay, not good lighting. All right, so here it is. This is the Nora Corbett. So even though this bag is plenty big enough for this stuff, the zipping opening is not. So it's hard to get this in and out. And I've noticed that I think it's with this, some of the bags that they're not quite wide enough with the zipper. Anyways, okay, so this is the June bug. I keep wanting to say it's the Luna moth, but it's not. It's the June bug. Okay, and she is super, super fun. And I think it's crossed by floss. Always says about Nora Corbett, it's not as hard as it looks because, or the Mirabilias, because there's blocks of color, and I kind of get that. So the challenging part was getting the frame first, and then building up from there. So I'm having a wee bit of a hard time because some of the greens are starting to become fairly similar. And I just got to get through that one section, and it'll be okay. But here it is. I've gotten up here and I felt like, oh my God, when I started this part that I was done, but clearly there's a lot more to go. I mean, you can't tell, but this has kind of got like a sheen to it, this material. And that's why I kind of did it as my background. Like there's like kind of blue streaks, not blue streak, well, bluey green streaks. I don't know. I wanted something to contrast, but then some of this is not that much of a contrast from some of the purples. So anyways, really enjoying it. I think it's a terrific pattern. I actually did make working copies, which I don't normally do, but I think it's better. Okay. And then this weekend, I've been working on the raccoon, the trash panda. Someone calls it a trash panda, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what a raccoon is like, from the cottage garden samplings. And here she is, he is. I actually, my big goal is to get this tail done, and I am done. Okay, so I'm not done the tail because I have to fill it in, but I have outlined it all. So, and I'm just coming up this side with this gray color, but I stopped last night because when the sun's lighting's less good, you can't tell, like when it gets darker, you can't see some of these colors as much. I think that's why a lot of people, when they're doing some of these big projects, like the high contrast backgrounds, because then you can see better, or at least I think you see better. So yep, and then I also came over here and did his the one eye, and this flower, which is totally wrong. I can't figure out where I missed stitches, but I had thought I skipped stitches and that was going to be too long, and anyways, it's just so funny. And so then I fixed it, but the fixing actually made it wrong. So I thought I was being so smart. Anyway, so here he is. It's going to be super cute. Now this is done on, I tend to, if it's Ada, this is 14 count Ada. The Mirabilia was on a 16 count Ada. And this one is actually the DMC that comes in the rolls, like Walmart. I like that. I like these. I don't like the Witchell Ada because it feels like soggy marshmallows. Anyway, so generally what I do is I try to, sometimes it doesn't work out, so whatever, but I try to dye using the Rit dye, whatever I have in my head, right? It doesn't always work out, but not a whole lot's lost. And I have not worked very much on my moo cow. I have determined though, I think I'm just going to do the head and not do the body part of the cow, because it's really the head that I like. So I will likely just do her head. That's not a reflection of the pattern, that's just what I was thinking. Okay, So then Friday was a very busy day. And I went to, so in Calford here, the Baptist church has a yard sale or flea market every weekend in the summer. Well, it's not the weekends, it's on Thursdays and Fridays, so I don't normally make it. But if I have a long weekend, I can make it. So this year, I took forever to drive home, but we got there in the afternoon. I like to get there early in the morning, not because I'm gonna miss anything, but because the aisles are kind of narrow, and if it's busy, then it's, you got to squeeze past people. But I did buy some stuff, so one of these days what I'll do is I'll do a video of my haul from there. But I also got some bunch of cross-stitching magazines and some old cross-stitching material that's never been used. So I figure what I will do is pull it out of the thing and do something to dye it. I think that the reason why I really didn't like some of the Aida in the past, or the look of it, is that when you dye it, you change it, but it's just weird when you go to do it. Like, yeah. When you dye it, it changes the nature of the material, I think. I've noticed that too with the Elizabeth hand-dyed threads. When somebody hand dyes it, it changes it. Versus what they call their hand dyed. But when somebody actually dyes it like at a cut, like Carrie Sullivan doesn't do Elizabeth, I don't think, but like the yarn player, she does these gorgeous skeins of tatting thread, and I think that part of why it feels so different is that the dye process changes it. Could be bullshit, don't know. All right, so on Friday, so then after that, I was sitting and I was thinking to myself, well, it's a long weekend, and it's a good opportunity to go to the closest actual officially cross-stitch store to me, which is Knowledge in Needles. And sorry, I had to look because I always want to call it the wrong name. And the thing is that I work Saturdays, so I am never here when they're open. So they're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. So I called on Friday on Friday afternoon. I called just to make sure that they were open, because they're open till 6. And the only thing she requires is that you don't wear perfume because it's a room in her house. Anyways, she just asked that you don't wear perfume because her husband has got health issues. So I jumped in the shower really quick and then drove down to Brighton, which is only half an hour away. So it's totally close. Just not with my schedule. Excuse me. I'm on a Perrier binge this weekend. And so I went down there, and so what it is it's just out of Brighton there. Really nice little house. You come around the back and there's a room there that she has, and it's chocked full of everything. And they're really terrific, her and her husband, and she's got 2 dogs. Yeah, and so I was there, and I actually wasn't there for anything in particular other than when I was there a couple of years ago, so last year I did not, understandably I didn't go, but because of the fire, I feel like I'm closer to feeling like I can accumulate crap again. So I need to stop. Anyways, and I had bought this. It's called Sunshine. It's Lagana. Sunshine Yellow is what it's called. And I had purchased this from her, and I'd done a lot of really great designs on it, and so I missed it. And so that's kind of what I was going for. And then I just thought, I'd go see what's there and all that. And so I went in there and I was looking around, and you know what? It's just fun sometimes, and I miss having some of this. Like, I know I dye my own, but I like buying some of the fabric too. And I'm pernickety about my Aida, so I don't buy hand-dyed Aida. I will buy hand dye and Laguna, or Laguna, whatever people call it, and maybe linen, but I'm not as much a linen person. So anyways, okay, so I was looking through, and there's a lot of patterns I wanted, but I was kind of like, am I gonna, okay, that I liked. I'm like, oh, am I gonna actually stitch this? Because that's the big test, right? Am I gonna stitch it? But she has a bunch of prairie schoolers, and they're the old ones. And there is this one that I absolutely adore, and I'd seen it before, and it's been in and out of my cart a bunch of times. And it's I thought they'd be super cute for Christmas decorations. And there's these like wool mittens and everything. Now, we all know I'm not going to find any wool actually up around where I am. I will use like the wool felt. It'll be craft felt that I use, so it'll be somewhat similar, not as fancy. And then the other one I bought that was a prairie schooler. I should have just bought all the prairie schoolers, eh? Is this one, and it is November. And part of that is because, guess what? I was born in November, so. But I went through them all and looked. And there was a couple ones there that I couldn't bring myself to buy again, because I already owned them once before. And this one was kind of a, I don't know. I want to say an impulse purchase, but like, I don't know. I see everybody do it, but I don't know. I figure I can take it apart too and make little pillows and all that kind of stuff. And this is the Halloween little village. You know, this is an expensive pattern. And you may be judging me, but I can buy a sampler for this. There was a Kathy Barrick that was a big pumpkin pattern. I was like, no, I'm not gonna buy any more Halloween. That I didn't buy. But no, I had to buy this. Anyways, I thought you could do like little pillows with a lot of this too. So I thought I do think it's super cute. And to go with this, I thought, there's a bunch of different colors of material that I bought that I thought would be cute. And then I saw this, and this is the Float Like a Butterfly, and I love that saying float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And I know it's a boxing thing, but I also think it's about a lot of stuff in life. Anyway, so she had this one. You know, for someone not very invested in cross stitch, I'm more than willing to pay a lot of money for some things. Anyway, so she had this one, but I forgot that I don't think I realized that it was two different companies. So I bought this one, and had picked out this one, and I couldn't find the matching. And I asked her, and so she looked up on her thing, oh, it should be around. And she's like, well, it's Heartstring Samplery. It's a collaboration. I'm like, oh my God. So that's why I couldn't find it. And then there's Sting Like a Bee. So I love this, and I think I would do it as the thing. And there's directions on how to do it on their on how to do them as one big one. And I think that what I would do, I might have to change some of the greens, but I had bought, okay, if this doesn't work, that's fine, because whatever. But I bought this. And I thought it would be really cool on here, or there's one other one I bought, but I just wanted to really stitch on this. I freaking love this color. And this is a 32 count Laguna. So my priority is actually the coloring, and I'll figure out how to stitch it as needed. If I'm motivated, I'll do it. Anyway, so I got that one, and so I thought either that, and I might have to change some of the greens, but I think that they might, because they're darker, or they seem darker to me. This one's definitely darker. That they will show up on this green, and I think it'll make the blues and like like I don't, what I don't like about their sample here is that the bees don't pop, and I think the bees would pop. So I'm either going to do that one on that, or on this, which I think is, it's kind of like the sky in the background. Look, that's perfect. That's almost what it is. Yeah, that's almost what it is. I hadn't opened it up before, but look how gorgeous that is. I also bought these because I thought, you know, and these are all, well, this one is definitely a Pictureless Plus because I can see on the back side it is. And it is, this is City Vin Atlantic. CTYVIN, and then Atlantic, so City Vin, I don't know. Anyways, okay. That's not quite the way, but anyways, so I thought this was gorgeous, and I thought this would be absolutely, the other reason I thought it wouldn't go wrong at all, because I think anything oceany or mermaidy or any mirabilia kind of thing would go well on there. So depending on how the Noracorids go. Okay. That is a 32 count as well. That's also why I picked 32 count, is because Noracorids and that stuff are 32 or 28. Okay, and then the last one I purchased, or last, okay, it's actually not the last one, but my original last thing I purchased is Eek. And I'd also got this because I thought the Tiny Town would look super cute on this as well, or the Tiny Cat, oh yes, I thought maybe the Tiny Town would also look good on the green one. What's the green one called? The Spring. So I'm not really sure what I think I'm doing with this. I just liked it. I liked it, and it's called Eek. And clearly it's meant for Halloween stuff. I did think there'd be some like blacker or whatever Halloween-y things that would look good on here. And just, oh, and this is 28 count. And just whatever, I think the pricing is more than reasonable there. So that's the other thing that's really great about the place, is the pricing is very reasonable. Okay, so then she's adding it up, and I see down there, I saw a little Glendon place booklet, and I thought, oh, I'll look through it, and it also happened to be on sale, but it was the Glendon place that made me look, because, you know, I've looked a bunch of times at the different Glendon places, and I like their mandalas, and I'm going through it, and oh my god, hold on. But the problem is, I don't want to bother kitting them up. That's why. I'm a lazy woman. And lo and behold, there is a kit. And it's here. It's in a container with all of the dinky dye threads to go with it. And instead of being what it should be, because the dinky threads are supposed to be whatever and blah, blah, they were put together in a kit so that the dinky dyes and the chart were together as a kit in a steel video. So here it is. And I also, while I was there, got her to help me pick out a color, and this is, oh, give me a sec. This is called, oh, it is 28 count. I should not be having this problem with it. When something's dyed, then I find what happens sometimes, well, you all know this, they shrink. So the 28 count gets a little smaller than what you're used to a 28 count being. I was thinking this was a 30 count, but it's 32 count, but it's not. It's 28 count. And this is 28 count ancient. And isn't it beautiful? It's such a beautiful color. And they were able to show me, she was able to show me where she had done some stitching on there, but she said it was a little slightly different, but I thought this was really nice. So there it is. And here's where I couldn't wait. I could not wait for a hoop. Because normally when I stitch on Lagana, I stitch on a hoop. So if it's Lagana or linen, I stitch on a hoop. Kind of still sewing method-y, depending. If it is Aida, I stitch in hand. That's why I like crunchy Aida. Okay. And then, so I wanted to get to this part, but I really wanted to start in the corner so that I could make sure I was starting in the right place. And the tricky part here is this is 17, the pattern is 17 inches wide. This material is 17 and a half. So I needed to start up and down very close in. So I measured out, believe it or not. Doesn't feel like, it feels like it's wider than it should be, but I measured it. Fingers crossed I did that right, but I measured it at 1.5 inches, because then that gives me 3 inches, which should be bang on. But at the end of the day, for me, I probably only needed 1/4 inch. And I did this part, and this really sucked because it was last night, and this yellow and this kind of color were kind of close together. And then I've come over here and done this part so that I could start this part, because it's really the border I want to do to start with. And what I am going to do is, get a loose needle. And there's one stitch, I think I'm going to rip out some of the yellow, because there's one stitch that's way not right. Way. Okay. And by the way, just FYI, I think if I were to pick a go-to color of material that's going to be like one of those whatever things, the way Michelle McGrath does with, oh my god, what's the color she does everything on? It'll come to me later. Murky. I actually think Ancient's the one to go with. So, that's just me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, so here's the pattern. I'm going to do this pattern over here, get this part here. The top part and the different part is different counting, just so you know. And then I'm going to start into this and come down and work my way down. And I think I'll come down just all the way down this way just to make sure everything's okay. But I'm really excited about doing this. Just FYI, I'm enjoying the dinky dyes and that stuff, but I actually am not a big fan of the okay. I think it's easier to show on. Okay, no, I did that. This all, sorry, hold on. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the fancy floss. Any of it. I am not a big fan of like their tonal coloring and all that stuff, because here's what I see. I see color pooling, okay, which is hilarious, because color pooling in crochet does not bother me whatsoever, okay, does not bother me whatsoever. But in the cross stitch, it bothers me. I don't like it. Don't like it. And so certain colors don't pool nicely, or they pool too much. Not like sweet potato. Like some of the colors are really phenomenal. They don't do that, but some of them they do. So I'm not such a big fan of that. And so to be quite honest, other than when it's like really true variegation, like here where you want that to show up, I'm just gonna double up the threads because I couldn't care less about this tonal shit. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the color pooling. And you'll see it, you know what I mean, when you're looking at the thing and they're like these weird streaks, but they don't look, it's not doing what you think it's doing. So to me it looks like color, like to me I don't like it, which is hilarious because color pooling in crochet does not bother me whatsoever. I'm just like, oh, that's part of the crochet, that's the way it works out, blah 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 blah. And some people hate it, so they try to avoid it. But anyways, so it's funny. Okay, so to summarize, ancient ancient, not murky. And then what I've been doing is I've been putting the dinky dies in my little thing here, but I think what I'm going to do is same style, not a pouch, but what I'm going to do is do like the muslin, seriously Vicky, on one side, and then the pashmina on the other, and do a bigger, wider one so that I can fold it up, like, or have it be a bigger sleeve or something, so that when I put it in, because what I've been doing is I've been putting, so the other thing about the dinky dies is on a floss tube, I'd heard them say it's really twisty and turny. Well, that's partly because of the way it's become stored. So the more that you let it just kind of hang down, the better off it would be. That's one issue. There's a couple other issues with it too, right, in terms of the twist, but that's with the fiber. So what I've been doing is putting it on here, and just pulling it off. And sorry, this is kind of, anyways. And then the only one I think that's really a bigger enough variegated to care about is the actual Bird of Paradise. So that one I've been very careful when I pull the stuff off. Would I buy silk again? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think I don't know. But it worked out for me here because it was all together and I didn't have to go try to do a conversion or anything. And like I said, it was like, oh my God, it's all together. It's a kit. And there's something about, I get why people like to buy kits. Like, that's why I like the dimensions. And I feel like if I have the dimensions, it's all ready to go and I don't have to do anything about it. So it's actually relatively stress-free. Whereas now with some of these other patterns, you got to match the pattern with the fabric and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, okay, so that's this took way longer than I thought it was going to. But I'm going to sign off and wish you happy tatting, and then to remind you, and happy crochet, happy stitches, to remind you, well, okay, a couple things. One, like and subscribe, because that helps people find my stuff. And then, and this is not a moneymaker, this is just like, hey, I like to talk about tatting, although I know, I feel like a trader, I'm talking a lot about cross stitch lately. And then go to my blog, victats.blogspot.com, and that is where I have the patterns for the Very Canadian Tat-along and the 4th of July Tat-along. Okay? All right, you have a lovely day, and happy tatting.